Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. Thank you for the question about Ireland and the money. Um, this is a question that was posted 2 weeks ago, and today I'm being guided to do a reading about it. And first of all, before I do this read, I have to be honest with you. I almost don't know any political news about Ireland. So I'm just reading the energies. And please use the information and the read according to your knowledge. And if I sound really off about some aspects, I hope you can forgive me about it because yeah, I haven't read any news about Ireland lately. And also, I don't know about the money. I don't know what that actually means. So, in this read, I will first identify the information about the money, and then I look into whether they will receive the money or not. So, first of all, the question I ask is Ireland owed a lot of money? And the card I get is Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords, it doesn't tell me whether it is a lot or not. It just gives me a message which is about sacrificing, deception. Um, whenever we see Seven of Swords, usually it can mean um, a move that requires a certain amount of sacrifice. It doesn't tell me if this amount will be a lot or just a little, but it tells me that the money is about a sacrifice, something that is being sacrificed. And I would think probably Ireland sacrificed something or will sacrifice something. And this money is related to that sacrifice. And the sacrifice can be related to a necessity, which is necessary to let go of something. On the other hand, it can be um, sacrificing terms and conditions. Maybe one of the parties, I don't know, it can be the EU, it can be the Irish side. There are or there were deceptions going on before. And in that case, a certain amount of money is related to that matter. So, and then I ask, do I see them receiving that money? Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords means taking action, taking logical action. So I do believe that there will be progress about this matter. Um, Perhaps people are being persistent about the matter. So they take action about this and seek for a resolution. It's not gonna sit there and without solution. There will be solution because people are trying to get the clarity about this matter. So this Celtic spread is whether we will see Ireland receiving that money. And first of all, I have to emphasize the fact that when I do the reads, if I do single card read and then that particular card appear in the Celtic spread, that means there are correlations between two matters. And I can tell you that both the Seven of Swords and the Ace of Swords, I do see them appearing in other spreads, which is telling me that the money is related to the EU. So even though I haven't read the news, but I know EU is involved and Ireland is also involved. And for this Celtic spread, I'm trying to figure out if Ireland will receive the money. So let's first talk about the Wheel of Fortune in the beginning of this spread. It is about a change that happened recently, the recent past. There was a change that happened. And what was the change? Okay, the change is related to the third house and the seventh house. Third house is about short distance travel, communications. Seventh house at the bottom. So when we combine third house and seventh house, what I can think about is it is about the border. It is about the short distance travel between different regions and the collaboration of short distance travel. This can be definitely, I think it is about the border. Um, for people who know Ireland well, you know what that is. And for me, I only know a little bit. And that is because of Brexit. The UK has to implement new border policies with the EU, including Ireland. So I think the change was related to that situation. Right now, the sun energy is about the clarity of a situation. What's the clarity? The clarity is the 12th house and the 8th house. The 12th house is about the hidden agenda, the secrets. Something behind the scene is coming to light. And the 8th house is about the other people's money. Money from large institutions, and the money behind the scene where we don't know, and something about that money is coming to light. And Nine of Wands crossing the Sun card, when this truth comes out, someone feels wounded about the situation, wounded about the money that was missing or that has been missing. Um, and this is why people will take action about it, because something is not fair about the situation. Okay, let's see what's the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is about the sixth house, third house. Okay, so when we combine sixth house and third house, sixth house is about jobs, it's about routines, employments. Third house is about short distance travel. So this situation relates to job, employments, and also perhaps people who need to travel between borders to get things done. And because of the change, their employment situation was affected, and the way they travel was also affected. And this can also be monetary matters that flow between nations and regions. And it's obvious that people feel wounded about the arrangement. Above the spread is Five of Wands. Five of Wands is about conflicting situations. There are multiple parties involved in a situation, and everyone wants their fair share. The upside is the conversation is very energetic. Everybody is very involved in figuring out how to deal with this matter. And the downside is because everybody wants something for themselves, it's difficult to come into conclusion and come into um, settling the situation with fairness. What's the Five of Wands energy? Fourth house, 11th house. In regards to the Five of Wands energy, the fourth house and 11th house means the sense of security, the sense of the border. 11th house, freedom. This can be related to the freedom of movement. This can be related to freedom of movements regarding people, goods, the flow of people and goods in between nations. And nations and perhaps the EU, in regards to this Irish situation, this Ireland situation, there are a lot of conflicts happening, especially in regards to the freedom of movement. The bottom of the spread is Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords, if that is a person, um, that is a person who has experienced wounds in her life before. So that's why she's being very cautious about the situation. Um, but at the same time, she doesn't want to feel vulnerable in a situation, and she's kind of rigid about handling this matter. And we are definitely, for this spread, we're talking about the money that is owed to Ireland. Um, there could be a female official that is heavily involved in the negotiation of this money, but it can also mean the general vibe about this matter is, um, because something was unclear before. That's why right now, um, people are not trusting about the process, and um, it is about getting back what they deserve to get back. And in this process of negotiation, a lot of logical thoughts are being used in the process, because Queen of Swords, it is a sword card, which means the energy of air. Um, so whoever are involved in a negotiation, they're trying to be as logical as possible. What is the Seven of Swords energy that we need to know about? It's very complicated. We got the first house, ninth house, 10th house, 12th house, and the 8th house. So the Queen of Swords energy is related to taking action in regards to the foreign lands, foreign countries, 10th house governments, the governments of those countries. The 12th house is behind the scene agreements, um, and also behind the scenes situation. And at the same time, it can be very overwhelming because there are multiple situations involved in this negotiation with multiple people or multiple governments. And it's just complicated because it involves the other nation's money, and that actually complicates the process of getting this money back. And the immediate future is Seven of Swords. So this is an indicator, one of the main indicators about this read, because at first, remember I started this read with Seven of Swords. Is Ireland owed a lot of money, and I still don't see whether it is a lot or not a lot, but at least I can tell you that this is actually representing, as you can see, the Seven of Swords in this spread. It is representing what the tarot wants us to know about the amount of the money and the money itself. Yes, there is money owed to Ireland, and in the immediate future there will be the Seven of Swords energy. So something has to be sacrificed, and I'm starting to realize the fact that the money will not be, likely will not be the amount that the people are hoping for, because Seven of Swords is about sacrificing, necessarily sacrificing something, necessarily sacrificing some demands, because they know that there are more important things to do, and they can't just ask for what they want to have in this moment. There has to be a compromise, because um, maybe the amount that they're asking is unreachable. With it can't be reached to an agreement with the other nations or the parties involved, and they might still get back some money, but at the same time there is also a give and take, because in the negotiation the Seven of Swords energy means that Ireland has to sacrifice something. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be feeling like, oh, we have to let go of something, even though we get something back, but we're not getting everything we demand for, because there are reasons that we're not getting back all that money, and we just have to deal with it. That's the mentality of that Seven of Swords energy. And let's talk about what is a Seven of Swords. It's about the sixth house and the third house. So again, remember I just talked about the Nine of Wands energy is where people feel wounded about the situation. It's not directly related to money. It's related to the employment, and also the routines, about the daily routines, the short distance domestic travel, uh, people and the employments that are affected by this arrangement, are the people who need to travel, and also the employment situation related to the borders. So something is telling us that in regards to the borders and the people who travel and the employments employments, the jobs that are involving this sort of traveling situation between two borders or multiple borders, there will be sacrifices because of the arrangement. There might be some layoffs because of the arrangement. Because when we talk about the sixth house and the third house, it is about employment situation regarding short distance travel. There can be a decreasing number, a decreasing in activities in regards to this matter. So what I'm feeling is Ireland will get back some money, but at the same time, because of the reduce in employment, they will feel like we get something, but at the same time we lost something. So, and then let's talk about the Three of Cups energy at the lower part of the spread. It is about collaborations, happiness, celebrations. So we do see some kind of celebration, resolution in regards to the money. Looks like there will be something of a happy nature that involves at least three sides. So in this case, I feel like it's about the UK, the EU, the Ireland. Yeah, so Three of Cups, there will be some happiness. And then King of Swords. King of Swords, well, let me backtrack a little bit. What is the Three of Cups about? The nature. Okay, the Three of Cups is about the 8th house, the 5th house, and the 4th house. So we're talking about other people's money, and then the 5th house is about 5th house is about what we love, what we feel passionate. It can be related to younger generations, the kids. Can it be a youth mobility scheme among these nations or whatever? And the 4th house, I still feel like it's about the border. It's about the border. Maybe younger people will be involved in this negotiation. But this I'm not 100% sure, but definitely there will be some kind of happiness about the monetary situation, some of the money from the other party, let's say the EU or not Ireland, but some kind of money will come back. And then King of Swords is about being scientific about the situation. King of Swords after Three of Cups is about a scientific approach after the happiness of finally reaching some kind of agreement and cooperation. So what is this King of Swords about? 4th house, 11th house. Okay, again, this is about homeland security, is about the border. And then the 11th house is about the future, is about freedom. I think there will be a very scientific approach that will be achieved in order to deal with this border issue and the freedom of movement. The freedom of movement between nations in regards to the goods, services, and the people. And judgment will be the announcement. And it's not going to be a small announcement, but that will be a big announcement that everybody will pay attention to. The world will pay attention to the announcement. So what is the judgment? Okay, the judgment is about the sixth house, third house, seventh house. Okay, so there'll be employment situation, the routine in regards to short distance travel, and the seventh of house is about collaborations and partnerships. So there will be a big announcement about this matter, and some money will be involved, will be announced. Six of Pentacles is about giving. Giving, someone who has more money will be giving to the poor. So in this situation, the Six of Pentacles represents a sense of generosity. Um, but at the same time, the ironic thing about Six of Pentacles is about um, because Six of Pentacles, that it shows really the inequality in the situation. So someone is being poor, and then they're receiving the aid or receiving the financial support from someone who is very wealthy. And in this situation, someone is being wealthy and giving to the poor. Is it gonna be a lot? Is it gonna be little? Let's think about ourselves. Usually, I'm talking about ordinary people. I'm not talking about super rich people. If someone is coming towards us and begs us for money, let's say this is a homeless person. I'm just saying, I'm just making an example. Uh, and it really depends on whether we have the money or not. And usually, people would just give a couple of dollars to the homeless because perhaps we're also dealing with financial situation in our lives, and we just gonna give that much to a homeless person. I'm talking about the general situation. So because Six of Pentacles is usually representing someone who has a lot of money and being generous, but it doesn't define the amount of the money. It just defines that someone who is being generous in the situation and giving back some money to someone. So in this case, I do feel like Ireland will receive some money. But then because of the nature of Six of Pentacles, I have a feeling that it is kind of like, okay, you're in this situation, we feel sorry, we'll give you back some money. You know, I don't mean to sound mean, but this is the vibe that I'm getting from the Six of Pentacles. And because Seven of Swords is involved in the negotiation, I highly suspect about the amount and also whether the Irish people will feel happy or not in this situation. You know, I I'm very caught up with this Six of Pentacles energy because I strongly feel like um I don't know if you personally experienced this. Maybe you're in a very poor situation and then you go to that person to ask for help or maybe negotiate for a settlement, some kind of. And then they were like, okay, we'll give you back something. But then you have to do this, do that. Um, you know, in this situation, I think it's, even though Ireland will get back something, but will they be happy? I don't think they will be very happy. But it looks like there will be some kind of happiness because the Three of Cups is involved. But I strongly think that Three of Cups is about the government involved in the negotiation, but not too much about the people. Okay, so after this, I asked about when it happens, how the general Irish population in Ireland feel about the amount of the money. And unfortunately, it's giving us the Ten of Swords. So either the amount is totally not as expected, or on the other side, it can be a settlement that makes the Irish people feel like it's a it's the worst. It's just not working. Um, but I would say I would more lean towards the amount is not a satisfying amount for the general Irish population in Ireland. Um, so after this, I asked about the relationship between the EU and Ireland, and we get the Empress energy. Um, so when the person asked me about the question, asked me the question, I I kind of had I had to think about how to kind of think about how to ask this question because uh, when we talk about respect, and if we ask whether the EU will respect Ireland, respect is a very personal thing, and the EU, uh, I feel kind of difficult to define respect in regards to this question. So that because the EU includes a lot of nations, and there are a lot of differences in values. That's why I try to ask this question in a different way. So first of all, um, I ask a permanent relationship pattern between the EU and Ireland. And this question is a permanent pattern and dynamics that will stay permanently. Because when we talk about relationships, we can ask about and predicting the future. But in this case, for some reason, I I don't think it is sufficient to just predict the changes in the relationship. Um, there is a need to understand the basic relationship pattern between the EU and Ireland. Because let's say, when we're talking about people, when a person is born, there is an energetic pattern. When an organization was born, there was the energy that was already set in place. And when Ireland was established as a nation, there was also the energy that was being established at that moment of time. So this Empress energy is representing, when we compare the moment that EU was established and the moment that Ireland was established as a nation, the permanent dynamic patterns between these two countries, organizations. Between these two, the Empress is the energy that is being represented between these two, the EU and the Ireland. When we talk about Empress energy, it's about protection. There is the mothering quality. There are the qualities and shared values about environment, because the Empress card, we do see a lot of environmental protection energy uh, behind this Empress. And it is also about money. There's the emphasis about money, the beauty, the environment. And let's see, what's the Empress energy is also about. It's also about the sixth house and the third house. So the employment situation, the jobs created between these two, and also the short distance travel. So basically, the relationship pattern between the EU and Ireland is mostly based on the jobs created between these two, and also the emphasis on creating a protective um, movement, protective movement. So it's a lot about creating a prosperous, nurturing environment for both the EU and Ireland. It's also about safety, the military, the jobs, the environmental aspect, protecting the environment, protecting the borders, but at the same time, being creative, within the border. Um, so I do think basically is about creating the prosperity, but at the same time protecting the interests of these two, government, the EU and Ireland. Empress is about the nature, the protection, um, yeah, and the money, and generating the money. Okay. So this Celtic spread is the answer to whether the EU will respect Ireland or not. The King of Wands in the previous position is about being passionate. That there was a male in the government who was very passionate about the affairs between, or the any kind of matters between Ireland and the EU. This guy was very involved in the situation. Um, what did he do? Okay, in regards to this situation, this guy, he did the fifth house, fourth house, 11th house. So fifth house is about creativity. Fourth house is about homeland security. It can be the border, and then 11th house, the freedom. So so Between the EU and Ireland, there was a guy involved previously, and he was very creative about the border situation. And there was the sense of creating a border situation that can be for the common good. But unfortunately, right now there is the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is about nightmares. It's about very overwhelming situation. And what is the Nine of Swords energy? Okay, the Nine of Swords is about fourth house, 11th house. Okay, so this guy, the King of Wands, he implemented something between the EU and the Ireland that creates a lot of frustration about the border security and the integrity of the border. That's why the freedom of movement, the mobility among the people who are involved in the situation, they worry a lot because their rights are changing, or their rights were changed in regards to being mobile, being allowed to travel. um, there are people who are just very worried about the situation right now. So the King of Swords crossing it. So remember, the other Celtic spread, uh, we talk about the King of Swords energy is about being very scientific. So the scientific approach is crossing the Nine of Swords. So something very scientific will be bringing some kind of healing situation in this matter. Um, so this question is about whether Ireland is respected by the EU. So something I can tell you at this moment, something is not. Something is not being respected. But they try to respect because of, you know, the King of Swords energy. So they will try to respect the needs of Ireland with a very scientific approach. But it won't be, I don't see a lot of compassion in regards to this situation. So whoever are negotiating with this matter, whether Ireland's rights are being respected or not, they have to be very scientific about it, and not being emotional, because for some reason in this situation they have to be very logical and being very scientific. Emotions, they don't really help in this situation. Okay, so above this spread, it is about the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles is about the lack, the poverty and the lack. Um, in Five of Pentacles, we do see two people. So they're sort of together, but at the same time, even though they are supportive towards each other, but that doesn't mean they feel prosperous. So something is still lacking in their relationship. So that there's this feeling of lack, the lack of respect. What is the Five of Pentacles? Okay, the Five of Pentacles is about eighth house, fifth house, fourth house. So it's about the resources, the funding receiving um, from the other party. I think there is the financial obligation from the EU to Ireland, but there is a lack in regards to this matter. So at the bottom of the spread, the root of the situation is Ace of Pentacles. So Ireland and EU, they're trying to initiate a new way of creating abundance because previously something changed and they have to figure out a new way to trade. What's the Ace of Pentacles? Okay, the fifth house and fourth house. Okay, so fifth house and fourth house, they always appear in these video, which means being creative about border security. Temperance card in the immediate future, it is about a compromise between two parties. So they will come to compromise. EU and Ireland, they will have a compromise. But temperance is also about the experiment. The experiment that combines two different things from two different places, combine and create something new. And in temperance, there is the angel, and when we cross, we have to pass through the angel in order to reach the destination where we can see the light. So in this case, this is very definite. This is in regards the border situation. And I do think there will be new sets of rules being implemented in regards to border protection and the border policies. Now let's talk about the world card. World card is about the completion. It's about unifying, completing a significant step about this matter. There is the intention to be inclusive. So when we ask about whether the EU will respect Ireland, they will try to respect Ireland for sure. They will try to respect. And how to respect? We see the Nine of Pentacles after that. When we see the Nine of Pentacles, it is about self-sufficient. It is about financial gains. Financial gains. The upside is we do see the financial gains from the EU to Ireland, and vice versa. But at the same time, there is a need for freedom. And Seven of Wands after Nine of Pentacles means that even though there will be monetary settlement, even though there is the monetary gains between the EU and Ireland, there is the rebellious energy. Because Seven of Wands energy is about being rebellious, being not okay about something. So what is the Seven of Wands energy? Okay, it is about the 11th house and the 6th house. 11 is 6, which means the future employment situation, and the common good. The job situation will be a focus because there are some conflicts between the EU and Ireland because of the employment situation. And I wonder if Ireland is actually losing jobs because of the situation. Anyway, the last card of this spread is about Eight of Swords. Ace of Swords. So Ace of Swords is about taking action. So again, Ace of Swords in this video, when I ask, do I see them receiving the money? And I do think that Ireland will receive the money because there will be the settlement of some kind. Because in this situation, because Ireland was not being respected by the EU, and then now there is a need to be more inclusive. So they will, so I can tell that they will be more respectful. They will try to be more inclusive about the needs of Ireland. But at the same time, I'm not gonna say I'm totally optimistic about that because of the nature of Seven of Swords and the Six of Pentacles. There is a give and take. So even though they will try to be, the EU will try to be inclusive, that doesn't mean total respect. It is about a compromise. So they will respect something, but then there are still things that the Irish people will feel like, oh, we're being disrespected. So what will the Irish people feel like they're still being disrespected by the EU in the future? Okay, it is about the third house, the seventh house, the second house, and the 12th house. Okay, so it's about the movement, the partnership, and the money, the short distance travel. I still think the taxation and the goods and the border situation, the Irish people will still think they are not being respected because that still affects their money, their income. So even though we do see the financial settlement, but they won't offset the sense of being disrespected. But for a lot of reasons, Ireland will settle with the matter. But are they gonna feel happy about it? I don't think so. So before I end this video, I dig a little bit deeper. I was trying to ask, when will they receive the money? And I asked for an exact number. So it gives me the 2. 2 can mean a lot of things. It can mean 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. For this, I'm not 100% certain, but I am willing to try to pinpoint the progress. So these 4 cards, we can try to relate the the High Priestess energy, the number 2. The 4 cards respectively is 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. And because the nature of the question is about money, so I would lean towards 2 days because we get 7 of Pentacles. So 2 days, I think within 2 days. Today is September 28th. So let's say the 30th or the 1st, there will be some significant progress about this money we're talking about, um, Ireland. There can be some significant steps being established, being negotiated within the next 2 days. Um, I'm not going to talk about the Four of Cups and the Star reverse, but there's one thing I want to pinpoint, I want to point out is the Seven of Wands energy. So, because of the timeline I set for these four cards, 2 years is correlated with Seven of Wands. And remember that earlier, we do have Seven of Wands in the Celtic spread on whether the EU will respect Ireland or not. And what I'm thinking is within the next 2 years, there will be situations where Ireland feels like they have to defend their integrity, have to defend their beliefs, have to defend their values and their rights. So within 2 years, I think there will be another moment that is very testing between the EU and Ireland because of the Seven of Wands energy. So this will be the last spread for this video, and I'm asking about whether um, something will, in regards to this money, will happen in the next 2 days. You know what? I think there will be a progress about this matter because I do see the High Priestess energy in this spread. Uh, so remember, when I talk about High Priestess, I was asking for an exact number, like when will they receive the money? And in this case, I do strongly believe that within 2 days we can see some kind of progress. It can be receiving the actual amount of money, but it can also be just a progress for the situation. It is a beginning of having more money in the situation. For this spread, I'm not gonna dive too deep with this spread because I'm just trying to use this spread to prove whether something will happen within 2 days or not. And I do think that there will be things happening, which can be positive for the situation. There will be new beginnings, but there are also uncertainties. There are also uncertainties because of the moon energy. Um, let's talk about the moon energy. What is the moon energy? Okay, the moon energy is 4th house, 11th house, 6th house. So I think there's still the uncertainties about the integrity of the borders and the freedom of movement. Uh, the uncertainty will linger. But I do see financial gains in the upcoming future. The Nine of Pentacles, the financial gains. Um, Ten of Cups, Ace of Pentacles. I do see the happiness and also the beginning of some new ways of generating income in regards to the situation. So I do see new money coming in, new money coming in. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I don't think the Irish people will feel uh, well. Maybe they're gonna feel happy in the next couple of days about the situation, but in the long run, it's gonna be, still gonna bring other problems. Maybe it will impact the employment situation, the way that Ireland collects taxes when the goods come into Ireland or go through Ireland, that kind of situation, the taxation situation, the income situation will still be a lingering issue. And I do believe that within the next 2 years, there can be moments when Ireland still need to negotiate further with the EU. So this is my read for Ireland and the money and EU. So I hope you enjoy this read, and thank you for the question. If you have more interesting questions you want to know about, please leave at the comment section and I'll try to get back to you when I have the time. You have a good day. Take care.